Good evening. I would like to call this meeting of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners to order. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Present.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger. Here. Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Present.
Commissioner Kuznow. Here. Commissioner Wayhill.
Here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Present.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll have the invocation by Commissioner Sean Shoemaker and followed by our Pledge of Allegiance.
Everyone would bow their heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you are such a loving and giving God. We are so thankful that you've brought us all here safely and that we live in such a wonderful community with so many people who are passionate about the direction of our county. Lord, help us as commissioners to make the right decisions, the decisions you would want us to make. Make sure those are the ones that will move us forward together. Lord, I ask for your blessing upon this meeting in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Now we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance.
At this time, before we begin our agenda, since our last meeting, former Judge Archie Heyman transition from this life. At this time, he had many years of service to the judicial system and the legislative judicial branch of our local government. At this time, if we can observe a moment of silence in memory of him, that will be great. Thank you. Mr. Chair, before us, or committee, we have before us the approval of the meeting minutes from our March 12th.
I'll move them. Support.
2025 meeting. Minutes have been moved and supported. Any discussion, any adjustments? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, meeting minutes, I don't know why my tongue's twisting tonight. Meeting minutes from the previous meeting have been adopted. At this time, we have the time period to set aside for public comments. If there is anyone who wishes to address this body, if you would begin lining up to my right, your left. And when you come to the microphone, we're going to do things a little different tonight. If you can say and spell your name and give your city, township, or village of origins, that will residency, that will be great.
Ready, Mr. Chair? David Layton, I'm the Genesee County Prosecuting Attorney. I reside in Flint Township. Last name is Leyton. Commissioners, I want to bring you up to date on an important event that occurred today in the Fenton District Court, but the defendant was from Commissioner Kuzno's district, and the defendant is a mobile home park, North Morris Estates in Thedford Township. This morning, we obtained a guilty plea on one count of operating a mobile home park without a license. It's a one-year misdemeanor. I do believe this is the first of its kind case in the state of Michigan where a corporation was held criminally liable for operating a mobile home park without a license. As part of the conviction today, a fine of $25,000 was obtained and paid this morning at the court, as well as $125 in court fees. Homes of America North Morris Estates, MHP LLC, will also provide proof of sale of the property via a letter of intent to purchase at the time of the plea. And in lieu of if the sale cannot go through, then as part of the plea, the mobile home park must enter into bankruptcy proceedings at which a receiver would be appointed and would find a purchaser for that mobile home park. I want to quickly thank the Neighborhood Association leader, Theo Gantos, for bringing this matter to our attention to begin with. The Michigan State Police, officials from Thedford Township, Commissioner Kuzno was very, very helpful, and we took a significant step forward today in obtaining justice for a good number of people in your commission district and in that mobile home park. So I wanted you to hear it. It's probably going to hit the news, but I wanted you to hear it first from me. We are very, very pleased to have had this significant victory in court today. Thank you.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Before our next speaker, Commissioner Cousineau.
Yeah, I know we don't normally speak, but, Mr. Layton, Prosecutor Layton, has done a wonderful job at doing this. This has been a problem that I've had to work with for many, many years, over 10 years. And for him to take the step that he did as the first prosecution of one of these illegal mobile home parks out there deserves, I don't know how to express the credit that he should get. But he took that step and they won, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
My name is Jessica Vaughn. I reside in Davison Township.
Will you please, excuse me, will you please spell your name?
Yeah.
The purposes of us doing that is clerk's office, they want to make sure that they have the correct spelling for the minutes and the records after our meeting.
Okay, it's Jessica Vaughn, V as in Victor, Aughn.
Thank you.
I work for the county in elections. I don't speak for my department, only myself. I'm really upset and disappointed at how our insurance benefits are being handled. One of the biggest incentives to working for Genesee County was our free health care for employees. With no warning, our benefits are going from $0 to around $45, or from $50 to around $175 per paycheck for our family rates. In this economy, $90 a month is a huge expense that many can't afford. I know I can't. My son has asthma and requires inhalers and other medications. Office copays, and God forbid an urgent care visit, which is also right now an $80 copay. And now the $80 or the $90 insurance premium on top of that. That's an entire week of latchkey. In a recent news article, it was mentioned that Genesee County has made the most money they've ever made and set a record. However, the employees, the backbone of the organization, have to fight for a small raise that doesn't even begin to cover inflation. And now more is being taken from us with our insurance. The incentives to work for the county are dwindling. Feeling appreciated for the work we do continues to decrease. I hope you take the employees of the Genesee County into consideration with this. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Heather Labbe. The last name is Laube. I'm a resident of the city of Flint, and I'm speaking tonight in support of the Equity in All Policies proposal. I attended last week's committee meetings, and I noted at least 2 examples where the adoption of this policy would be really useful for the work here. One was when Commissioner Brown, in the discussion about the kiosks at the new tower building, asked whether going online and having access to technology would be the only way that people would be able to access that service. That would directly be addressed if we put this equity in all policies into place. And then the second time was during the discussion focused on parking places in the tower building. And Commissioner Shoemaker expressed some frustration that some of these questions hadn't been asked ahead of time, right? And he stressed that he really wants to ensure that things are handled before we get to this point, and communicated some concern about whether or not there were going to be enough handicap parking places, right? And to ensure that people would literally have access to the building. And this is a concern not only for handicapped folks, but maybe for seniors or and employees and residents, right? This is a significant concern for everyone. And he also emphasized that making sure that these folks have easy access to the services that they are coming to have and frankly are entitled to, right, to have access to those things, that's really important and should be a priority. And emphasize that these are things that we want to take care of beforehand. So this, I would suggest, is exactly what the Equity in All Policies proposal strives to do, is to provide a few questions to consider before, right, as decisions are being made, in order to think things through and then to, solve those concerns prior to coming to a meeting so that we can not spend the time in a meeting doing those kinds of things. And so I hope that given that we literally watched that happen, that you'll all unanimously vote to support the policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Williams, Williams. I am a resident, actually, a second and a half generation resident of Flint, Michigan. Family roots in Flint that extend to the beginning of the first migration, 1919, Great Migration. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Equity in All Policies policy as well, resolution. I have been committed both personally and professionally for more than 40 years to efforts to help make Genesee County a vibrant place where all people can thrive. From my internship in 1983 at Genesee County Probate Court to my current position as the Director of Equity and Community Engagement at the Community Foundation. Genesee County has already taken commendable steps in helping us become a county where all people can thrive through the creation of the DEI Commission, as well as the adoption by the Board of Health, and I believe it was 2016, of the Health in All Policies policy. I urge you to adopt Resolution 2025-1284 that will continue our forward movement as a county in fulfilling what actually is written on the website of Genesee County, the vision or the goal of ensuring that every community, no matter the size, receives the support and resources it needs to succeed now and into the future. Together, we are building an inclusive, collaborative culture for the benefit of all residents in the community. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Pasberg, Pasbjerg, and I too am a resident of Flint. I heard a really great talk by Pete Buttigieg recently talking about DEI and defining it by its opposite. So the opposite of diversity is uniformity. And what are some other words that we associate with that? Rigid, unchanging, monotonous, repetitive, colorless. Equity, the opposite of equity is inequity, not equal. Unfair, unbalanced, disparity, prejudiced. Inclusion, the opposite of inclusion is exclusion. To deny access, reject, ostracize, or prohibit. I don't think there's anyone here who believes that we as a society or a county or as a community would be better off if we were more rigid and colorless, unfair and prejudiced, focused on denying access, and ostracizing people we did not like. Would that make this place an attractive place to draw investment from companies and people that we want to live here, to build communities, families, and business opportunities? For too long in our history, both nationally and locally, certain segments of our population have been denied a voice at this table based on the color of their skin, their income, their gender or sexual identity, their religion, or their age. All that does is deny us the wisdom and ideas and experiences that create a vibrant, thriving, joyful, and exciting place to live. I believe that we've worked hard here in Genesee County and Flint to be better than that. We're not there yet, I think we all know that, but this is an opportunity to make it clear that this is our ethical standard and the goal that we want to achieve. It's by embracing our cultural, ethnic, and individual diversity, our opportunities to teach and learn from each other, and our hard work at building communities that try to include all of the people in our decision-making and vision of our future, that we continue to make Genesee County a place where people will want to live and work, do business, and hopefully, as we do better, where our young people will want to stay or return to start their own families and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Detloff, Dettloff as in Frank. I am speaking today as a resident of Fenton Township, and I am also speaking today with enthusiastic support for the Equity in All Policies resolution. As a resident of Fenton and as a resident of this county, I want to know that our government is conducting the people's work in a way that is welcoming to all and promotes equal outcomes for all. Genesee County is a vibrant and wonderful community. Every person in it deserves the opportunity to thrive regardless of background or circumstance. And it is so encouraging to me that this Equity in All Policies resolution acknowledges that different people may need different supports depending on those circumstances. The bottom line is that ultimately a more equitable community leads to better overall well-being and prosperity for everyone, as it allows all of our neighbors, all of our community members to contribute at their full potential. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natalie Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. I have lived in Genesee County most of my life. I grew up in Grand Blanc. I live downtown Flint now. I've also been an RN for many years. And there's diversity, equity, and inclusion is an important part of all of our lives here in Genesee County. You can't have proper civil rights without diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I don't know what is more important than our civil rights. Also, inclusion covers everybody. When you have a handicap ramp, you can also use that ramp to wheel up groceries. Inclusion never harms anybody. So yes, I'm here I didn't write a fully prepared speech. I just came here to say that I'm in full support in the Equity in All Policies resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Constance Jan, Jahn. I live in Genesee County, Flint here. I'm speaking on behalf of DER because I think that if people are not treated equally, then we don't have equality. And the whole principle of the American way of life is that everybody is equal. All people are created equal. We're equal under the law. And there's no reason why we can't make some sacrifice or adjustments or whatever is required to help people who have a problem of some kind. Perhaps they're not as mobile as others, or whatever their problem is. We need to work to solve those problems for those people and allow them to have a full and prosperous life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Scott Bennett, I'm a resident of Grand Blanc Township. Also happen to be the supervisor there. Grew up in Flint, spent my whole life in Genesee County. So I get to experience standing on the other side of the podium tonight. But thanks for what you guys do. I'm here in support of Mr. Boggs, Greg Boggs, a friend of mine, that he meets all the criteria for the road commission seat that you have available. Now, Greg does work for Grand Blanc Township. However, I don't see anywhere in the prerequisites that they can't be a government employee. In fact, it says, pretty clearly eligibility is determined by the resolutions and from, communities that are served by the road department. We don't have a road department in Grand Blanc Township. We do have a water and sewer department. Mr. Boggs is assistant director of that. And the reason why I think that's important is because I want to bring up the fact that he's worked with, tons of millions of dollars in budget projects. Right now we have a project that we're doing with the Genesee County Water and Waste, probably a $60 million project with KCI. We actually helped initiate that project. But when it comes to roads, we don't have any road department. The board makes all decisions in terms of policy, in terms of budget, in terms of allocating funds for any roads that the road commission. So I don't see any conflict, and nobody at our township saw any conflict with an employee of the township, just like a police officer or anybody else that would apply. Now, if it was a board member or myself, there would be a conflict because I am a policymaker and I do sign off on these projects. But Mr. Boggs brings the most integrity. He's a family man and a community person, serves on a number of boards, nonprofits, what have you. And I think he would be able to get the job done. As I said before, he's the person that comes in early and stays late. But we appreciate your consideration, and he's the right person for the job, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name's Joe Madore, M-A-D-O-R-E. I've been the Richfield Township Supervisor for I'm into my 17th year now. Lived in Davison my entire life. I lived in Davison when this county was ran by the County Board of Supervisors, which were the supervisors at that time. So believe me, supervisors have been dealing with roads in this county for 100 years. The experience of township supervisors bring to this table is they deal with the roads and the road complaints and the road budgets on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. We work with our local road commission garage foremans, all the time. We deal with the problems. We meet our residents out there on the road. So I'm speaking on behalf of another fellow supervisor, that former supervisor, Shirley Cutman-Jones, tonight. She knows what it's like to sit at that table and take those calls and those complaints and deal with the roads and the budgets and work with the road commission at their offices to get a plan together. Funding, we don't get funding directly, right? We don't own direct roads, but neither does the road commission. They don't own those roads either. They just happen to get the funding to take care of the roads that are in our townships. Cities get their funding for the roads in their city, which they own. So I want to emphasize to those who, as you ponder that decision, who's best going to have the experience to sit up at that desk. Shirley has sat at that desk before as a commission member, as a chair member of that commission. She has the experience and she has the buy-in and support from a lot of us township supervisors as well. Just take that into account when you do that. Someone who's been there, who's sat on the side of the road, who's dealt with those residents and those complaints, and understands what it takes to fix a road, pave a road, and when you don't have the money, how you best handle it, they will work their way with the road commission and the residents. And that's really what it boils down to, is taking care of this for our residents. And I think having someone up there that's got the experience, that deals with that, has dealt with that, and will continue to deal with that would be your best choice. Thanks.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Shirley Kautman-Jones, Atlas Township, Kautmanjones.
Thank you.
I actually have a Davison mailing address. Thank you, Joe Madore. That was a surprise. I just want to reiterate a letter that I sent in March of 2023 to the county commissioners. And I'll just kind of go over it quickly. Thank you for your service to the residents of Genesee County and most notably Atlas Township in the village of Goodrich, where I have served a cumulative total of 11 years as the township supervisor. The intent of this letter is regarding the impending appointments to the GCRC board. When I ask residents I represent to outline the township's essential services that they valued the most, the answers were in order of importance: roads, ambulance, police, fire, and garbage and recycling. The Genesee County Road Commission is directed by statute to service townships. This requirement does not include cities and villages because they receive their unique Act 51 dollars. When carrying out the upcoming appointment to the GCRC board, please make this appointment with the best interest of townships in mind. We ask that these appointments be made in good faith to the township residents because the GCRC has a powerful impact on their daily lives. I can go on. I included appointing individuals with track records in local government management and service, including budget protocols, and a thorough understanding of local government is necessary. This crucial background is required to make the most informed decision. The township residents need leaders with a proven track record. To properly serve these appointments should not be the appointee's first experience in substantial government service. Thank you.
You can summarize.
Okay. Most importantly, these appointed individuals must reside in a township as served by the Genesee County Road Commission. Otherwise, their actions and decisions are outside the best interest of the citizens living in a township within Genesee County. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Rick Caruso. I'm living in Clayton Township. Caruso is the spelling of the last name. Just want to thank you folks for the opportunity to be considered for a road commission appointment. Any support I can get from anybody and to list all the things I can help with would be ungodly. I just want to thank you for your, thank you.
Thank you.
Arthur Woodson, Flint, Michigan. Woodson, W-O-O-D-S-O-N. Shirley Kautman-Jones should not be on the road commission. She was the one that we had to fight for racial discrimination while she was on there as the chairperson. She asked for a black man's head to be put on a platter. I have videos of every time we had to go there. And here, I didn't know she was gonna be here for this, man. And it kind of like, I was here for something else, but I had to say something, man. That diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is how it's been over there at the Road Commission, and she's not for that. So plus, we trying to get veterans over in Goodrich and Atlas right now, and they voted against it because they said they didn't want those type of people over there in that area. And she's a supervisor, so it kind of like, bubbled me up for a second. But what I was,
Excuse me one second. Excuse me one second. Excuse me one second. Apologies. We're going to reset this time. Please, we maintain a certain level of decorum and professionalism here and respect. And so when someone else is speaking on the mic, I'd appreciate it if there's no yelling out from the audience. It doesn't matter what's being stated. Thank you so much.
what I'm here for is that we are doing a Flint cancer study. And I would have never thought that we can bring U of M and MSU together without rivalry. But we got MSU and U of M together to work on a cancer study. In Genesee County has been a contaminated landfill, basically. GM and all, Lockhart, chemicals, you name it, has been a problem. You have people that live outside of Flint that works inside of Flint. So they had to drink the water. They had to breathe the air. They had, right now over at York City, you have 11 million parts per trillion of PFAS just sitting there across from Lear. So you have all these different contaminants, that's here. ATSDR did a study at Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune had TTHM from 1957 to 1985. Flint had TTHM for 15 months. In that study, it states that if you just drank the water or was exposed to the water for 30 days, you stand a high risk of having cancer. So it's not just a Flint thing, it's a Genesee County thing, because a lot of people outside of Flint work inside of Flint. So this study would not only benefit the city of Flint, but it would benefit Genesee County. And I am so grateful that the county, President Lloyd, Vice President Shoemaker, and all the commissioners for participating in trying to find out and see if we have serious cancer issues here in Genesee County, not only Flint. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, this is Dr. Heatherland. She's MSU, and this is the person that really helped me get it started. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Heatherlyn Uphold, UPHOLD. I'm a resident of Holly Township, and I'm here on behalf of the Flint Community Cancer Consortium, or FC3. We've been funded through the National Minority Quality Forum to do a feasibility study in the greater Flint area to really get some answers for the community about what we're hearing. We're hearing anecdotal evidence of increased incidence of cancer, aggressive cancers, and so we want to begin the steps to look at what's causing that, how big is the problem. We're excited to partner with the county and the health department on this. We've been partners with the county for a number of years on a variety of different projects. So this is just a wonderful extension to do that work in partnership with the county and to really get some answers for our community. This is a feasibility study, so it's the first step. The next step, once we've completed the feasibility study, will be to do a larger, again, countywide focus on unusual cancer patterns. So we're excited to do it. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of the public who wish to address this body? Any additional members of the public who wish to address this body? Are there any additional members of the public who wish to address this body? Public comment is now closed. Before I open the floor, just in case there's comment, I just want to correct myself. As chair, it's not that anybody can come to the mic and say anything. Tonight, we have a number of items on our agenda, including appointments, and one of our speakers' name is on the appointment, so the public's able to weigh in on what's on the agenda, including appointments and names. So I just want to correct that for myself, that I would not allow anybody to say anything, but it's kind of a fine line because of what we have on our agenda and those appointments are. So I just want to say that. Are there any other comments before we move into the remainder of our agenda? Any other response? All right, seeing none, that brings us to the next, to our communications. So we have a number of items this morning, this evening, including one that was an update that we scheduled for tonight. Lynn from the Senior Services Department, can you come at this time? She's prepared and was prepared to bring us an update or report out about applications received for consideration of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners relative to a couple of the senior centers. And so she's here to make that presentation to us to give an update on applications for Hasselbring and for McKinley Center, I believe, as a request was made by the city of Flint here to this board. And so she's given us an update as it relates to the requests that were received. This will be a brief report out.
Good evening, Commissioners. Through the chair to all of you, I have had the opportunity to thoroughly review both applications from the City of Flint for the Eric Mays Flint Senior Center, as well as for the McKinley Senior Center. I have a packet for you that contains both applications, as well as on top is my SWOT analysis of each of the centers. So after reviewing both of them very thoroughly, I found both applications to be incomplete and missing many of the needed documentations. When reviewing, it was found that the senior center applications both were missing professional liability insurance and workman's compensation, the health inspection, a valid building code inspection, specifically for the City of Flint Center. The building does not meet the required code regulations as of 10/18/2022. They were also missing the City Council approved minutes and application for the application and budget. The following program requirements that are required by each center were not addressed: lunch, nutritional education programming, legal services, transportation, social services, support groups, and volunteerism. There was also no plan for the procurement of the My Senior Center equipment, which is required. That is the main database that we use to show the participation in each center. There was also an unrealistic projected number of seniors that each of those centers wanted to serve. They were both stating that they were going to serve over 14,300 seniors. That's the total amount all 16 centers serve each year. I was also concerned that their budget that they submitted was not clear, and it was well over the amount of a level 2 or a level 3 center. And one of the other things that was concerning with the City of Flint, there were multiple fire code violations as of 12/26/24, another fire inspection on 2/24/25, and December's violations were still not addressed. It's very similar with the McKinley, with the exception that there absolutely wasn't any building code, fire inspection, or ADA compliance information submitted. They pretty much mirror each other. The other concern is that with the McKinley building not being in operation since 2002, there are 2 centers that are within 2 miles away from that center, potential center, bringing in a possibility of duplication of services. So therefore, based on these issues that we have here, it is my recommendation that the 2 applications not move to committees to be considered for funding.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Starting Commissioner Wayhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was obviously unexpected, so, but I do have a couple of questions through you, if I might, to the director. So starting from a basic standpoint, this is the same process you would use for any application, is that right?
Through the chair to you, yes.
Okay. So the existing 16 centers, senior centers, have gone through this same analysis at one time or another before they could receive county money?
Correct.
Okay. So I take it that what I'll call the old Hasselbring is on the left, is that right?
Correct, the City of Flint Center.
All right, they're calling it the City of Flint Senior Center, but isn't this the Mays Center?
Yes.
Okay. Curiosity, so one of the weaknesses, the building does not meet the required code regulations as of October 18th of 2022, but they were operating in there. So how is it that the former senior center was allowed to remain open for apparently 3 years, or not quite 3 years, but a couple of years when the building didn't meet the code regulations?
Through the chair to you, Commissioner. There was much discussion between the nonprofit as well as the City of Flint on trying to get that building up to code. It was the responsibility of the city to make those corrections. We did not feel it was fair to punish the nonprofit in there while they were actively working with the City of Flint to try to meet code. Things have changed now. Now the City of Flint is wanting to run senior programming out of a City of Flint run building. That, to me, would mean that they should be responsible fully to get that building up to code.
Okay. I appreciate that, thank you. I think one last question, Mr. Chair. So we've not, since I've been on commission, we've not had a presentation like this with applications come forward, but my guess is that's because there haven't been any, is that correct?
We always do it at the same time so that the applications are released to all 16 senior centers at the same time with the same deadline, following a process so that nobody is treated any differently than anyone. This came at the request of the City of Flint wanting to apply.
Right, okay. What committee would this normally go to?
I would take it to either Human Services or if I was told to Finance, either
Okay.
one.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And if I may, I want to add on to that, if I may. And I thought it was important that it comes back here because this has been such a broadly, so we had a meeting here where the city came before us and communicated that they would be making application, and there's a lot of interest as to what next steps we take as a commission as it relates to these applications. And so for transparency for the public at large, and these are probably the only remarks I'll make, I thought it important that the applications be brought to us so that there's clarity for us and the public as to where it is, so that there's accountability for me too, with this, one of the centers being in my district, if I move forward with a recommendation to the body or not. I thought it was important to just have the bare perspective of what the senior services department's review of those applications are, so that we all have those if we receive questions.
Can I?
Yes.
Just to follow up, I guess, I said that was my last question, but it isn't. But through you, Mr. Chair, to Lynn, so let's just say it was a senior center application from outside the city of Flint. You would run your SWOT analysis, do your analysis. Have you ever not brought an application to the relevant committee because your recommendation was that the application was substantially incomplete, or there were more negatives that outweighed the positives?
Through the chair to you, we've never received an application like this with so many missing components in my 14 years.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to Lynn. On their cover letter, they allude to the fact that they had attached the liability insurance, the fire and ADA inspections, and the health department inspection. Did they forget to submit them after saying that they would?
Through the chair to you, they were submitted, but they were expired or they were out of code. The McKinley Center was the one that didn't submit anything at all.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is what action, if we choose to take Lynn's recommendation, what action does this board have to take, or if any?
No action required.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Commissioner Avery.
Yeah, just out of fidelity, just making sure that it's not looked at as isolated. These entities have an opportunity to be notified that they're lacking, or they're just coming to us first-time information is there an awareness that they're incomplete or they're insufficient?
Through the chair to you, it was recommended to me that I meet with the chair, Del Rico, Commissioner Lloyd, excuse me, and then bring this presentation to you. And then moving forward, whether the recommendation is to cease or if the recommendation is to go back and request additional information.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? All right. I think that the city certainly should be notified of what the findings were, and then, you know, if you receive correspondence back, I think we should proceed appropriately as your department normally would. All right. All right. Any additional comments? Seeing none, thank you so much. All right. Next before us, we have EP 25-001, approval of a request for expedited procurement to Otis Elevator Company for the repair of the administration building east elevator hoist motor in the amount of $44,600 to address concerns where threats to public health, welfare, or safety exist, and to maintain ADA accessibility to various floors in the building.
Support.
All right.
Mr. Chair, there's no action required on this. This is just for notification purposes. We did this as an emergency purchase because we are down to one elevator in the building, even though we are anticipating that we're going to move out. If the other elevator goes out, we would be without elevators and without accessibility in the building. So there's no action required. This is just for notification.
All right.
Call to motion.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments about this item? All right, seeing none. Next, we have before us an update from the Clerk Register, Dominique Clemens.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that have been around for a while, you know it is our office's general stance to every year come before you all and just present on the work that we've been doing. So I wanted to continue that and provide some updates to you. As you all know, and as most of the public is aware, the Office of the County Clerk and Register of Deeds is one combined office that contains now 3 unique divisions: our vital records, our election administration, and the Register of Deeds. We're going to talk a little bit about the progress in each of those divisions. But I also want to touch on the 3 main goals and priorities of our office, and that is to build a strong staff culture, improved services to our residents, and to provide access and transparency. This is part of that access and transparency piece. All 3 of these priorities initiatives fall within those main vision and goals that you all have set as the Board of Commissioners for the entire county. So going straight into it, some of the things that we do to help reach those goals. One of the big things is team building, and we've had several commissioners involved with that part of that process of our team getting to know each other and getting to work with each other on a collaborative nature, doing things like scavenger hunts and professional development days. Some of the photos you see here are from YMCA Camp Copenhagen, where we had a team building day, doing stuff like that to build morale in the office. Now with that fun stuff also comes the educational side of things. We are committed to continuous education and learning for all members of our staff, and we take our professional development very seriously. Our office currently has quarterly professional development. Where in those professional development, we do sessions on specific hard skills around the office and procedures of the Office of the Clerk Register, but also more of those soft skills and leadership skills, because I believe every person in my office is a leader. So we do sessions on communication, on customer service, on intentionality, all of those sorts of things. And we also are very active in our state associations and going to trainings. As you all know, a big part of what we do is in elections, and the elections code and statute is constantly changing. So we want to make sure that we are up to date to best service the residents of our county. And sometimes we just have fun in our office. Office celebrations, these 2 pictures here, one is from Halloween, where our elections division sported costumes from Monsters Incorporated. And the right side of the photo is also during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a group of staff that were wearing pink to support the cause. Now going into a little bit of the numbers and the data, those of you that know me know I'm a numbers person. These are the different services that we offer, and the number in parentheses is how many of those that we transactions we handled during the last fiscal year, that is October 1st of 23 through September 30th of 2024. The biggest piece of our office, of course, is those birth certificates with almost 17,000, just short of 17,000 birth certificates issued. These are not new births, but folks are requesting a copy of a birth certificate charged at $25 per record. Death certificates comes in second at 11,270. CPL licenses this year, we saw a slight increase at 7,300. Marriage license, 4,746. 1,300 DBAs, that's doing business as, small business registrations, 683 notary applications, and 6 military discharges filed within our office. Some of the things that we're working on in our Vital Records Division is expediting and expanding our online services. So every service that we can do can be offered online. We're not quite there yet. We're working with the state to get our notary applications and concealed pistol license processes to be able to be done at least partially online. As you all know, we've made a partnership with you all to allow us to start doing a fee waiver program, which has been hugely successful in being able to offer birth certificates and death records free of charge for low-income individuals. We have seen a great need in our community, and through that fee waiver program, we've actually started attending and participating in community events where we've been able to be in the community and issue those records out at homeless shelters, at food banks, and even we did it for Flint schools for their orientation, intending to do it for the students, but we partnered with the Secretary of State's office. They were there with us, and we were able to also provide birth certificates and IDs from the Secretary of State to some of the parents as they were enrolling their kids in school. We've done a lot of partnership work with our Secretary of State's office on a lot of things, as well as the sheriff, and one of the things that we've really worked on in our vitals is to provide identification, including a birth certificate, for our returning citizens, those that are leaving the confines of our county jail, so that they have documentation and record for them so that they can start the next phase of their life as they seek employment, as they seek housing. They leave with the records that they need, rather than being put out on the street with nothing and no identification. Some additional stats for you that I think show the trend of where we're at in the county. We had 3,001 new births that happened within our county. We have 3 birthing centers in Genesee County, or 3 hospitals, Hurley, McLaren, and Genesis. But we did have 3,999 deaths in this county, so we are outpacing. We have more deaths than folks being born here in Genesee County. And there were 1,912 marriages that were performed here. 37 of those I had the opportunity to officiate. As I mentioned through some of those slides, we're really big in being involved in the community, taking part in town hall events, forums, speaking engagements, community events. We've done stuff in the jail with all jurisdictions, and one of the things that I'm known for is I will go out, I will do these town halls, I will do events with other elected officials regardless of my opinion of them. I'm not there to be friends or enemies with any elected official, to take sides on things, but to get the information out about the services that our office provides and the process around our elections. In the Register of Deeds side, we accept over 100 different types of documents in this office. Liens, mortgages, deeds, titles, court orders, things like that, anything related to property records. In the last fiscal year, we had over 64,000 property records that were recorded in Genesee County. Those are all charged at a rate of $30 per record, with a portion of that going to the general fund and another portion going into the Register of Deeds Technology Fund to help with technology improvements for electronic recording of deeds and property records. On that note, we are really expanding our e-recording to include new vendors to do e-recording, making it easier for title companies to do business with us at the county. And I have been recently appointed to the Michigan Electronic Recording Commission, where I'm one of the Register of Deeds that are on the statewide commission that is setting the standards and the policies for electronic submission of property records and expanding electronic services in the Deeds Division. Another thing we are really getting laser focused on and partnering with the state and other counties is deed fraud prevention. Right now we have a deed fraud alert system that we're trying to grow and expand, but also look at other things in teeth. And when we talk about deed fraud, I think a lot of folks think of their house as something that is permanent. Nobody thinks of their house as something that's going to get stolen from them. But in fact, we see that happen across the state every day through the paperwork, people coming in and filing fraudulent and false deeds. So we want to put in processes in place to make sure that the residents, our consumers, have notification anytime any record is, a transaction happens on their property, that they get notification so that they can take action ahead of time. We've heard stories where individuals who are older have had deed fraud happen to them and had no idea for 15 years that they were living in a house that somebody has claimed a fraudulent deed or a fraudulent title on. And 15 years is a really long time to go back. We've been following the example of Wayne County, who in fact has a deed fraud prevention task force in the Register of Deeds office. We're not to that point yet, but I think that's something we could be getting to in the future. We do a lot of work with our young folks throughout the community, both myself as well as our staff, doing mock elections, doing reading to children, being part of our county's youth commission as a co-advisor there, and just really being into schools and getting young folks engaged with the process of local government to get them prepared for adulthood and being civically engaged. In our election side, while it is our smallest division as far as staff and budget goes, it is probably one of the most known and widely scrutinized parts of our office. This just lists some of those services that I know you all are very familiar with: election filings, campaign finance, programming, the election equipment, training poll workers. Some of the expansions from our elections division is we have now are offering online campaign finance reporting. We ran that as a pilot program this last election cycle, and it was very successful. I know many of you took part in the online filing. That is now going to be a requirement for all candidates moving forward. Every election, new candidates that file will be required to file electronically their campaign finance reports. We have taken over the training of poll workers countywide. While state law stipulates that any jurisdiction over 10,000 may train their own poll workers, we have an agreement with all of our local units of government that we will have consistent training throughout the county for all poll workers. So if you have a poll worker you're dealing with in Richfield Township or someone that you're working with as a voter in Flint, that they're getting the same support, the same resources, and the same training to streamline and provide more integrity to our election process. Many of you have seen our new election night reporting system that adds all of the charts and bells and whistles for you to analyze data on election night. And another partnership with our jail is expanding the jail voting. Right now it is a mail voting program that we make sure that those inmates that are registered voters, because in the state of Michigan, if you are above the age of 18 and a U.S. citizen, as long as you are not actively serving a sentence, you do remain your right to vote. So that means the individuals that are sitting in the jail waiting for trial or waiting to be sentenced still are eligible voters, and they should have their right to be able to vote. The sheriff has done a great job in not only making sure that we're able to get in there and get folks registered to vote, but also hold candidate forums where the residents of the jail can make informed decisions about who they're voting for. Elections, there's a lot of numbers here to go over. My left is our fiscal year numbers. We had 5 elections the last fiscal year. We had 80 recalls that were filed in the last fiscal year. Of those 80 recalls, 4 of them made it to the ballot. We conducted 10 audits in jurisdictions throughout the county, and we oversaw 716 campaign finance committees, both of candidates and PACs this election cycle. Looking specifically at the November races, some numbers that I thought you might be interested in. We did have just under 350,000 registered voters in this county, 348,119 registered voters. Of that, 64.5% was our turnout for the presidential election. That's just under 225,000 ballots cast. We saw Gaines Township, which I believe is Commissioner Shoemaker's district, had the highest turnout in the county. 85% of registered voters in Gaines Township voted. That was the highest that we saw in the county. I believe that was the highest we may have, at least in recent history of this county. The jurisdiction with the lowest turnout was the city of Flint that did not break 50%. They were the only jurisdiction to not break 50% in our county at 44% voter turnout. All in all, there was 156 precincts across this county that we serviced the election for. That included 217 different ballot styles, because several of our precincts have split precincts where there's more than one ballot for the same precinct. And of those 217 ballot styles, there was 142 contests, so candidate races or ballot questions that made it on the ballot this year. This is just some photos of the election process. The one that I want to draw your attention to is the one right there in the top right corner. You all know I'm a very hands-on clerk, and especially all parts of the election. What you're seeing there in that photo is actually our printing facility. I was able to be on site while they were printing our ballots, helping to ensure the process and the security of that process. And just seeing the immense scale. There are 3 major printers in the state of Michigan that do ballot printing for almost every county in the state. So getting to be able to be hands-on and see that printing process was really exciting to me. We couldn't do this without a lot of partnerships with state officials, county officials, local officials. We do a lot of work with other county clerks, folks at all levels of government, both in securing funding and resources, as well as training but also just getting the word out about the important work that we're doing in the clerk's office. And where we're going, our plan for the upcoming fiscal year, one of the big projects that we're looking on is continuing the work that we've already started on historical indexing of property records. I'm grateful that my predecessor's predecessor, Ms. Rose Bogardus, put a great deal of effort into digitizing of the records and really being ahead of our time and getting almost all of our records digitized. The challenge with that is at that time when records were digitized, they were all digitized, and that was the end of the project. They were not indexed. So unless you know exactly what book your deed is in, if you know your deed was from 1927 and book 3, Liber 14, page 7, then you can find it. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of data sitting on a computer. So we are in a process of indexing all of those to make each one of those documents searchable online. We likely will be coming to you in the future asking for contracts to do, partner with some companies to do that. We're trying to do that in-house right now, and we're anticipating it'll take us roughly 30 to 35 years to do that in our free time in the office. So we are going to be looking to contract that out to speed that up, hopefully by a good 30 years, and maybe get it done in 3 to 4 years instead of 35 years. Part of the new system, we're moving to a new records management system called Fiddler. You've all already approved that contract, and we've done a lot of work with our IT department to make that happen. But one of the pieces of that we're really excited about is the electronic certification of death records, where we will be able to submit death records directly to funeral homes via email with an electronic certification to help streamline the process for both burial and insurance benefits for residents in our county. We've been actively working at cross-training our staff. So as you know, right now, we are in physically different spots, our vital records and our deeds office. In the new building, they will be in one shared spot, and we are making it a point that all of the staff in the vital records and deeds divisions are cross-trained in a way that they can service anybody at that counter, regardless who is at the counter at that time, creating more efficiencies for us to work on some other projects and to be better integrated. We are also working in 2 different ways, a kiosk check-in system. We are been a part of the RFP process for Project TAN, which is about a kiosk system for the entire building for checking in to streamline our lines. But part of our Fiddler system is also to be able to have our residents complete their forms electronically. When somebody comes in for a birth certificate or a marriage application is a great example, they're currently filling out a form on paper. Oftentimes it's challenging to read for our staff, but then our staff is simply taking what they put in a marriage application, hand typing that, having the resident then review it. The new system will allow the residents to sit at a computer here at our office, type in the information themselves, and that gets transmitted to our staff. They can look over, hit submit, rather than having to retype that in. We will always remain having an option for folks to file with paper. We'll have staff available to assist those that want to file with the computer in the office, but we do recognize some people may be uncomfortable using computers, and we want to make sure there's always a paper option available for our residents. We're working with the state and actually have a meeting next week to try to expand voting in our jail. Right now, as I mentioned, we do it by mail. I would love to get to a point where we could offer in-person voting, just like at a polling location that you all would go to on election day, to allow the residents of the jail to have that same opportunity. And as I mentioned already, we're going to be expanding our deed fraud program. So as we conclude, this is a photo of the full team of our county Register of Deeds and county clerk staff. And you all know I couldn't go without giving you all a quote. Last time I went East Coast, so this time we'll go West Coast. I know it seems hard sometimes, but remember one thing. Through every dark night, there's a bright day after that. And that, of course, is Mr. Tupac Shakur. Is there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have Communications 25-181, Pension and OPEB Funding Detail, Form 5572.
Mr. Chair, that's simply for your information. There's no action required.
Okay, thank you. All right, next we have a presentation from Priority Waste Recovery. Are you here? Priority Waste Recovery?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, if you give your name, we just stated the organization, that'd be great. And this is, this presentation.
Nice photos, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
All right, this is related to something very important that's come before us previously that we wanted to receive a presentation for. This is related to a letter of support that's been requested of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners for priority waste materials recovery facility and processing and transfer facility that I believe you all are looking to build or to rehab. And so we certainly wanted to receive a presentation from you so that we're able to understand the scope of the project, the purpose of the project, why a letter of support is needed, et cetera, before we take action. So the floor is yours. Thanks for
I
coming.
thank the Honorable Chair and the Honorable Body for allowing us this opportunity to give a brief overview about community benefits and what the project's going to entail being built by Priority Waste in the City of Flint. The location of the MRF, or Materials Recovery Facility and Transfer Station, is at the intersection of Pearson Road and Dort Highway. I believe it's in District 1, the Chair's district, actually. This $40 million facility will complete what was started over 2.5 years ago with creating an opportunity for Flint and Genesee County to be the model city and community in the state of Michigan for recycling with automated curb service for garbage and for recycling in the city itself. That was achieved through a rather large grant through a lot of efforts of various entities to make that happen. Those were distributed this summer in the city of Flint to all residents. And just 3 weeks ago, we took on 8 brand new automated trucks here in the city of Flint, and they were delivered with a press conference, which some of you may have seen on local television outlets and on MLive. The third phase is this MRF. This will allow the city of Flint and Genesee County and surrounding counties to have the opportunity for a regional-sized and replicable facility that we could place anywhere in the state of Michigan. We saw the vision, Mr. Stamper, our CEO, Todd Stamper, saw the vision of allowing this to happen in Flint because outside of the metropolitan Detroit area and up in Traverse City, and very small facilities in Washington County and places like that, there are no regional facilities for garbage management and recycling, which would complete what is required in the 115 legislation that was passed by the Michigan legislature in December of 2022. This facility will make that happen here in Genesee County in the city of Flint. The great thing about this was it was designed from the ground up. It's a green facility in and of itself. There's a water runoff management system that is managed literally underneath the hard surface that surrounds the facility itself. The facility itself is a 62,000 square foot enclosed facility, which is put into 2 parts. The materials recovery facility is on one part, and on the other parcel is the transfer station, which would manage the waste needs of the city of Flint primarily, and then of course greater into Genesee County and surrounding counties. This facility will last, as it's designed, for about 50 years and has the capacity to process up to 350,000 tons of recyclable materials per year when it's at maximum capacity. In its first year of operation, which will start hopefully this August and run into next August, we look at about 25,000 tons in its first year. Almost all of these inputs would be coming from the residents of the city of Flint. So it's a $40 million build out. It's an investment in our community. The annual contribution to the city of Flint and Genesee County will be about $7.8 million in salaries and benefits and taxes here into the city and the county. For the construction phase, it will employ about 150 workers between groundbreaking, which has already started. We've cleared the land, actually, and we're in the very final stages of the permitting for the build-out, and it should be completed in midsummer, somewhere around the 1st of August, and then we'll have it in operation once the beta testing is done on all the state-of-the-art interior sorting equipment. We contracted with Machine X out of North Carolina for a fully automated system with the latest technology and artificial intelligence to be brought right here to make, once again, Flint and Genesee County a model community in our state of Michigan. That's about $12.5 million worth of equipment. So what will be housed there will be the MRF, the transfer station, the weights and scales, and our storage facility for our trucks and maintenance, small maintenance there. It'll employ about 100 workers when at capacity. Its first year will be a little less than that, obviously, but we will build up to that. So these will be good paying jobs in the recovery facility and for our servicing facilities as well here in Genesee County. I will say that As the vision was for a green economy or diversion of waste materials out of our landfills in Michigan, we will be setting the standard for the method by which we divert these things and how we sort them and try to commoditize them and put them back into the marketplace. Doing Genesee County and City of Flint's part in generating a more green economy in our state. So if it works here in Flint and Genesee County, it will work in other clustered areas in our state. There are 83 counties in our state, and really only 11 of them have the facilities currently in the state to actually do the recycling and commoditization and sale of product. So between, as I say, Traverse City and Detroit, there's very little, but this will be the first facility, and we'll be able to do a large-scale operation. It has room for growth, and so it will be a model, and we're quite proud of it. So the designer actually had to go early. He's picking up his son, who's coming back from a law school interview at NYU. He had to leave, but Giovanni Levine helped craft this with the vision of our CEO, Todd Stamper, and took a lot of expert advice to make this regional facility. And we can airdrop this in any community in the state of Michigan, but Flint and Genesee County will be first. So I'm so thankful to give this brief explanation of the community benefits, the environmental benefits, the economic benefits, and the employment benefits to our region. And we're quite proud of it, and we're very happy to continue to service the residents of Flint and Genesee County.
Thank you. Great presentation. I want to open the floor for questions. I have a number of questions, and I appreciate my colleagues allowing me to be able to be present to ask questions. So I'm going to start with Commissioner Winfrey.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to how many jobs will the project create?
To the chair, Commissioner Winfrey, thank you very much. About 100 when we're up and running at full capacity. A little less than in the first year, but it'll be about 100.
All right. Any additional questions? Commissioner Wayhill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to our guest. Are there any environmental concerns? Obviously, the city of Flint has had some difficulties and some challenges of an extreme nature with the water situation and other examples of what I would call environmental degradation brought on by employers. What have you put in place to protect the community immediately surrounding the facility, and under what regulatory bodies are you governed?
To the chair, thank you, Commissioner. That facility, actually, that site, I should say, is already zoned for this purpose. There was a company that's no longer in business that actually had a license for that facility already, so it was already zoned for the transfer of waste products from there. The facility itself is actually designed for the water runoff, not for tap water, but for water runoff management, so that we're not adding to the overflow problems in the sewer system. So we have a retention basin of, I want to get the number right, there'll be 2,350 tons of recycled concrete in a true grid system. It's a design system that we shopped around to find. It's beneath all the hardscape surfaces. So water will go into retention basin, if you will, and then it gets filtered out underneath and can be released in time. So we're not overflowing the sewer system in the area. So it's a unique design. It's not unique to Flint, but it will be to this facility. It was designed elsewhere in the United States, but we're going to be applying it here. So normally you have large buildings like the old Buick City and so on, where you have factory lids, acreage under roof, right? All that water gets funneled down into the sewer system during a heavy rain event, and it overflows the system, right? This facility is designed to contain that water and to release it slowly. So it's a manageable system for the facility. The transfer station itself will be continually operating during operational hours to repack and haul away. So nothing is stored on site. And the recyclable materials are actually clean. If they go into the containers clean, they get dropped into a single stream system where they'll be sorted. Waste product or contaminant goes by conveyor belt from one building to the next and is disposed of in the normal fashion. And the commodities like metals, recyclable paper and cardboard products, and plastics will be baled and shipped off site. So that will be a continuing operation, just like any other licensed facility in the state. And the primary licensing authority is ECLSR.
So where does the water, how is the water generated? So my concern isn't...
Rainwater.
So clean rainwater.
Yeah, this is to manage the rainwater that would fall on hard surfaces like parking lots on the roof.
Okay. And then, do you accept hazardous materials or no?
This is not a hazmat facility, no, sir.
Okay. Are there times where people, of course, mistakenly put hazardous materials out in their recycling bin, and what does that look like if it gets to you?
We take it to your house.
Oh, well, that would be terrible.
No, those things get segregated out and they get set off to the side. So say, for instance, some unscrupulous auto shop or whatever put, 50 car batteries in there and ended up in the facility. Those would be segregated, they'd be tagged, and they'd be taken to a hazmat acceptable facility. None of those things should be going in with the regular garbage that's going into the landfill. Those things go to a special landfill. So just car batteries, for example.
How often do you receive hazardous materials?
Well, quite frankly, hazardous materials get in the waste stream every day, everywhere.
Sure.
Which is an unfortunate thing. One of the primary causes of garbage truck fires all across the United States are people, believe it or not, just putting lithium-ion batteries in there. They get compromised, the lithium gets ignited, and then it sets the whole dang garbage truck on fire, which is unfortunate. So it's nice to see that there's a battery disposal facility right here on this floor by the elevator.
Yeah, my last question is, and this might be a Josh question, or I don't know if Derek's here, but is there any overlap in terms of the services that this outfit is providing with what we desire to do with the Recycling and Education Center, or are they pretty distinct?
I believe they're going to be different, but we've got Chris Durgan and staff here to speak to that. They're the experts.
Good evening, Christine Durgan, Assistant Director at the Planning Commission. I also have with me Cody Robler, who's our expert on the recycling and the solid waste planning. So two very different types of facilities. Are the facility that we've talked about with the household hazardous waste will be much more small scale, where people can come, from their household and drop off things. In much smaller quantities, so quite a bit different.
Great. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, additional questions? Anyone have additional questions? Commissioner Avery.
Yeah, just as far as you referred to the 100 jobs, would there be some intentionality with local hire, with proximity of the facility? I'm very passionate about the economic development of our area.
To the Chair, Commissioner Avery, absolutely. The employees that we have now working in the city of Flint for our disposal operations, almost all of them come within 20 miles of the city of Flint, and many of them do live in the proximity of the city of Flint and Genesee County. There are folks that do live in the outlying areas that do travel in, but the vast majority of the folks that are here are from here, and we're quite proud of that, actually.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, are there any additional questions? All right, I have a number of questions. So again, thank you so much for coming as requested to make a presentation to us. Because of the magnitude of this project, I just thought that it was appropriate that we not kind of just breeze through this one, but we slow down a bit to take a picture of the full view of what is before us. The ask is for a letter of support for us to provide with my signature along to accompany the letter of support that you received from the city of Flint. So can you talk about why the letters of support are needed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, the letters of support are actually a requirement for the Eagle licensing application. So what it says in the requirement, it says that the highest unit of a government needs to express their support for this license. So we can build it and so on, but in order for us to operate it, we have to have the license under Eagle. And because we are assuming a facility that already was licensed, it's a little more expedited, but they definitely wanted to hear from the city of Flint and the county as to whether or not this would be of benefit and that you would allow it to go forward in operation in the county, which we received that support from the administration in the city of Flint, and we hope to have that equal support here this evening from the commission. So we're quite hopeful that we know this will be a benefit for all the reasons that I've stated in my brief remarks. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And then just for clarification, so the 7.25 acres, there's a facility already existing on that property, yes?
No, that's been leveled. That was
It's been leveled?
taken- Yeah, correct.
So that's the facility that you kind of assume you've leveled it, and now you're getting ready to build
On that one parcel, yes, sir.
Okay, and then now you're getting ready to build I think a 68,000 square foot facility?
Yes, sir.
On that property, all right? And then you talked about partnership with the city of Flint and Genesee County. Can you talk about what that looks like? You didn't use the word partnership, but in terms of, I know that you have the trucks that's been provided and used inside the city of Flint, the big yellow trucks that are being utilized. They're picking up materials throughout the city of Flint. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and so my understanding is those trucks are going to be offloading, materials at this site that you're proposing to build, correct?
Yes, sir. So all the recyclables that are picked up by the automated system here in the city of Flint, they'll be taken to the MRF, the materials. It's a single stream system, so people put everything into their Kirby cart, and that'll get tipped. All that stuff will go into a single stream. It'll be sorted out, segregated, baled, and then sold.
Okay, great. Where are you taking those materials now?
So actually, they're getting, believe it or not, they're either get trucked down to Detroit to facilities down there, which is a huge diesel footprint. It's not the most environmentally sound way when it comes to carbon footprints to do that, because we're literally trucking it that far away from Flint. Or believe it or not, we have to take them up to Traverse City, which is really, it's a crazy thought, but that does happen.
So these are agencies or municipalities, cities, townships, villages that currently have contracts with your company, right? Priority, that you're trucking these materials around to
Right,
other
so
places?
GFL operates a large facility that they built in the city of Flint. Waste Management has a even larger one down in the city of Detroit. Rossock and Sakra, which are two disposal authorities in Oakland County. And also there's Hamtramck Recycling, which is adjacent to our facilities down there. We can take them to all those facilities, or if they're at capacity, or they can decline it. In other words, they're trying to get rid of material, we have to truck it even farther away, which would be Traverse City, believe it or not.
So, and I know I'm hitting you because I know we have a number of other items on the agenda, so I'm just hitting you with some questions
Yes,
real
sir.
fast. But I know that you just talked about trucking the materials to other counties or other areas, but I was reading in some of the support documentation that there will be roughly 5 surrounding counties who will then be trucking their materials into Genesee County to this
We'll have
facility?
the capacity for that. So two parts. You mentioned like the idea of a partnership. We are also participating in the solid waste planning committee work right now for the city for the county of Genesee. But what the 115 legislation allows for, and this is a planning decision. This has nothing to do with me, and I'm not trying to cast anything into the future. Sure. But if counties want to cluster together to create larger bodies for the consolidation of recycling services, they can create a plan for that. Eagle, of course, under the legislation, has to approve any plans that are done by an individual county, a city, or a cluster. So this facility will allow the capacity to go up to 350,000 tons, which, given the current capacity, the projected capacity for Genesee County, we could take material from other counties if they so chose to do that. This facility would more than have the capacity to do that.
Sure, because one of my concerns is that, now those materials, and I don't mean to sound hypocritical, those materials are going outside of the community. We have a recycling center that we're getting ready to, that's going to be built actually in my district at another location, right? And then you have this facility, and I was reading in some of the support documentation that it's not just about the recyclables, but it's also about some of the waste as well that's going to other trash that's not recyclables, that's going to be kind of separated, offloaded, the larger trucks put into smaller trucks or the other way around, and then trucked somewhere else. So I'm kind of concerned about, an overabundance of trash and recyclables coming from other counties into Genesee County, into the first district, my district.
So for our trash capacity, that's for the city of Flint. So what we'd be doing is it's a transfer station where they'd be going in from the residential trucks that you see on the street every day. They go into 100-yard containers, which get hauled off to the landfill. It's just a question of efficiency, and it doesn't stay there. It's not a storage facility. It's basically a repackaging facility from smaller trucks to larger trucks. So it's a question of efficiency, but we only do that with our contracted folks.
Okay,
So,
and one other thing.
Capacity would be there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your responses as well. And we'll wrap this shortly because on Door Highway, that corridor, there's been a number of junkyards. When we were at the city of Flint, a number of us, there were issues with, sewer grates being taken to junkyards in those areas and over an abundance of just trash and waste. And so now we'll have this facility coming up where that corridor has kind of been cleaned up some. And I'm just curious, you know, what that will look like, because this is a large facility with major capacity and the possibility of waste coming from other counties into Genesee County.
Not waste, recyclables.
Recyclables, but I was reading something that included waste that you all will sort out and then ship to other places. So here's the question. Are you suggesting that if you're receiving materials from the outer counties, are you suggesting that you won't be receiving like trash? It will just be things that can be recycled?
So any trash contracts that Priority Waste has would be operating out of that facility. That's going to be a hub. So as we expand up and down the I-75 corridor, there will be opportunities for that. But we're not going to be shipping in. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page with our thought process.
Sure.
Anything that gets processed here already is going to get processed here. At this facility, it's actually 2 facilities side by side.
Sure.
The conveyor belt is only for the contaminated items that come into the recyclable facility, which is going to be very minimal because folks are very recycling conscious, and we're doing more and more education in that regard. So the idea is to minimize contaminants in the recycling stream, but those things that are caught will be shipped over because they're garbage anyway. And then the garbage that's taken care of at the transfer station is being transferred from trucks into 100-yard containers, which go out to the landfill like we're doing presently and have done for decades. That doesn't change. It's just the facility will all be new and consolidated.
Thank you for the clarity. One of the pieces that you did provide for me, and then I'll jump over here and then come back, is that as your company expands up and down the I-75 corridor, then there will be potential opportunity or possibility for other materials to come from other counties up and down the I-75 corridor. What to your response?
But maybe like the density or the volume will be quite low because outside of the greater Flint area, populations get quite sparse.
Sure.
And so, like, we have a facility in Saginaw, for example.
Sure.
We don't bring that down here.
Let me ask you one more question, because I have a number of other questions, but I don't want to monopolize
Yes,
this meeting or take up a lot more time. What is the time sensitivity of you receiving the letter of support? I'm not suggesting that I'm not in favor. I'm not suggesting that I am in favor. I just want to be able to make sure I'm able to do my due diligence on behalf of the constituents in my district where this facility will be, that I not only understand exactly the totality of what I will be voting on, but so that I can be accountable to my constituents and be able to answer their questions. Because it's definitely going to raise questions, and it already has, given the nature of the facility, concerns about recyclable materials and trash that will be potentially additional that will be coming into the district. I want to go to, at this time, to Commissioner Cousineau, who had a question.
This might be require 2 people answering, but when you collect the trash from the Flint area, city of Flint, and then you ship it back out accordingly to dumps and landfills, which I assume are going into one of the 2 in Genesee County, correct?
Correct, sir.
And then are you, does the county then collect 50 cents a ton or whatever? Chris, are you still out there? Does the county then still collect money for them dumping that into those landfills? I can't remember what that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So it's 45 cents per cubic yard, and yes.
Okay, so that will be collected.
Yes.
And then if you do accept trash from outside the county, you mentioned earlier that you may in the future, the same principle would hold.
Any waste that comes into Genesee County and is disposed of in a Genesee County landfill, we collect.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Let me jump to another question as it relates to funding for this project. How is this project being funded? Are there any resources being requested or contributed by the city of Flint, or any requests that will be made to Genesee County?
None, sir.
None.
It's all private.
So it's all private funding.
Yes, sir.
So there's no additional funding from the city of Flint or from Genesee County to support this project. All right. I certainly support the addition of jobs in our community. So many are without gainful employment opportunities, and we certainly want to be supportive of that. I'm also in support of economic development in our community and the growth and expansion of business. Certainly, that is a plus for Genesee County. just unsure where I am with this particular project at this time, but it's before us, and I don't want to take more time to ask questions, but I would like to be able to ask a lot more questions. So we postponed this already. We had illnesses, I've been out as well, but I would certainly like to have an opportunity. What time frame? What's the time sensitivity of you receiving?
It will be built and up for ready for operation by the 1st of August.
Okay, and so when, deadline, if you had to say a deadline of when you absolutely needed a letter, could you attach a time frame to that?
Not that I would want to rush this honorable body's deliberations in any way,
Sure.
shape, or form, but the city of Flint has done their due diligence as well and has expressed that support within the city limits, which is where this will be located. Obviously, sir, I understand this in your district, but sooner the better, actually. I mean, if we could, because it has to go to Lansing and then they have to do their process, and I'm really not sure what that is. I know that they're waiting for both of these letters so that they can go ahead and issue the license. We would like to have that in due course so that we can actually open with a full dedication, which this body would be certainly invited to be part of, that ribbon cutting, so we could create this historic moment here in Genesee County and Flint.
Sure. Is the letter, what you need from the state in terms of what these letters of support, are you in need of that to begin building the project, or you need it to open?
We're already in a process of building right now.
Okay, got it.
It should be completed by the end of July timeframe.
Okay.
So the license from Eagle is to actually operate. It's just an operation license. So what's required are the 2 letters of support from the highest units of government, which would be the city of Flint and the county commission. And so we've attained the one from the city of Flint, and we look forward to attaining it here from the county commission with obvious deference to any deliberation that you may have.
Okay, and then 2 quick follow-up questions on the same vein. What is the time frame that you all are thinking that it will take to get a response back from the state as it relates to what you're looking for?
We were told in, as they say, an expeditious manner. So I don't know what the internal process is with Eagle, but when they have these 2 things in line, they are prepared to issue the license already, is what was conveyed to Giovanni Levine, our architect, because it met all their specifications.
All right, thank you so much. If my colleagues would entertain, what I'd like to do is have a motion to table this until the end of our agenda, so I can kind of
Point
turn this.
order. That's on a future, later.
Resolution?
Under economic development.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to conclude my questions at this time. Thank you so much for being here. You've helped me to understand this project a lot better.
Any questions that the board members would have, I'd be happy to hang back if you needed to call me back up again at the time of the vote. That would be terrific.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. So that brings us to the end of our communications, and that brings us to the next order of business that we have, which is our appointments. At this time, I'm going to defer to Commissioner Shoemaker and then to Commissioner Cousineau before we get into the votes for a couple points of information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To start off with, as you all know, we started this process to change our appointments policy, and I want to thank you all. I think we've seen the results in the amount of applications. Normally, when we're sitting here, we look at Mr. Freeman, or I'll ask Mr. Freeman or other people, this is all we had for applicants, and he will say, this is it. If you look at this list now, this shows that, by putting a little more effort into this, we accomplished a more diverse, a large group of people, which is what this board has said it wants its policy to be. We've engaged people from all over the county. So I want to talk about just real quick, what we did to get to this point as a board. We increased exposure. Our staff worked very hard to make sure information got out, not just to municipalities, but media, sharing it with commissioners. Commissioners shared it with other elected officials, and I think that's been very successful. We've improved the application process on the website. I know a couple of people had a few issues with it, but it was just a little box that needed to be checked, and it was okay. We also created policies. Thank you to Commissioner Winfrey. Thank you to the chair for working with us to improve the process of application, creating a clear process. I think we're still going to work and improve on it. I thank you for the call today, Charles, very much. I think we're going to continue to meet and evolve as we go along. Part of what we were looking to do over the last few years, we had this committee before, was to make sure that we had the most qualified individuals serving on our boards, and that meant getting a larger pool. That also meant reaching outside of our normal means, making sure people who are in the out parts of the county or in areas less served by things had their opportunity to be on these boards and sit on these boards. And I think we've achieved that here. So with that being said, the process for this, as we spoke about last meeting, we will start with the first group. We will start with District 1. Everyone will say the individual they would like. If that person has enough votes, there will be no more additional need to proceed. If we do not have enough, the top 2 vote getters will move on to the next round, and you'll have your choice to vote for them. With that being said, I want to thank the chair. I want to again thank the board. I want to thank all the applicants. If you do not make it, continue to apply. We appreciate your desire to serve your community, and thank you.
Point of information, Commissioner. So there is,
Shoot, okay, one other thing, sorry, I think I know where you're going. We did, also, let's discuss, if it's okay, Mr. Chair, if I continue. I
sure,
apologize.
absolutely.
Couple issues that were brought up during this process. One, we had researched a resolution, first item that this board had passed, we had an email to you speaking about residents participating on the road commission that actually lived in a township and not in a city. You guys all received that. And then in addition to that, Commissioner Brown had asked our corporation counsel for a ruling on an applicant to see if it was a conflict of interest, and I had not received any information yet. I talked to Mr. Freeman. I just wanted to clarify, we heard from the supervisor of Grand Lake Township that he didn't believe that, but I'd like to know from our corporation counsel so the board can make an educated decision if there was any conflict of interest with that.
So I can tell you that Commissioner Brown did ask our office for an answer to a question. Ben Bush worked on that, got her an answer. He thought it was such a nuanced question that he put it in the form of an opinion, and that was delivered to Dr. Brown and I believe Mr. Freeman. I don't know if that was disseminated beyond that, but that was who asked the question of us. Now, are you asking in this public meeting whether the assistant director of the DPW
Yes,
of Grand Lake Township?
Because if he is qualified and there isn't a conflict, he should definitely be considered.
So we asked some questions and we have not gotten any answers. The first question and most important is, are there any contracts between the Road Commission and Grand Blanc Township? And we haven't gotten an answer from anybody on that question. But that would make the answer very easy. It's our opinion that if there are contracts between the Road Commission and Grand Blanc Township, then it would be an incompatible office.
So if you're doing a road project, in the example, there's a matching funds from the road commission to the township, that will be considered a contract.
I would have to see. I don't know. If there's a contract between the two, it's our opinion that's the end of the story. And nobody has told us if there's any contracts between the two.
If it pleases the chair, to make sure this gentleman has all the opportunity in the world, if we have a supervisor here, if Scott would want to stand up and answer that question, if he knows, we can solve that. Sorry to put you on the spot,
No
Mr.
problem.
Supervisor.
Good evening. So is there a contract with townships? You know, the county actually has jurisdiction over all of the roads, and I think we heard that from Richfield Township supervisor as well. We don't own roads, but they ask us to assist in paying, so we have to match funds with the county when they do a road project. In terms of any staff input, no. Basically, as supervisor, I sign those contracts that basically state that we will provide the funding, but in terms of any policy decision or negotiation, the funds actually that are required or set by state statute in terms of Act 51, in terms of how that money is divided up amongst the various municipalities, what have you. So the only contract there would be is if there's a road project that the county is going to do or contract out, that we would pay whatever the prescribed match is, and that's basically the extent of it. So there's no contract for services or anything that we provide the county other than payment.
Let's assume that that doesn't qualify as a contract. There's still two other reasons that could make holding public employment position and a public office to make those incompatible, and I would need a lot more, it's a fact-specific inquiry. And just to let you know, I'll tell you what the definition of incompatible offices is under the law. It's public offices held by a public official which, when the official is performing the duties of any of the public offices held by the official, results in any of the following with respect to those offices held. It's 1, the subordination of one public office to another, 2, the supervision of one public office by another, or 3, a breach of duty of the public office. And that third breach of duty relates to whether there are contracts between the two public bodies. Again, as was in the opinion, that's a fact-intensive inquiry. I don't know what the job duties of the Assistant Director of Public Works of Grand Blanc Township is. I would just tell you that, and I think I heard the supervisor say that they've got nothing to do with the roads. Their Public Works Department just deals with water and sewage. But I can't give you an answer on the spot without knowing what the job duties are. I know that his CV said that he works closely with the road commission. That raises red flags. And let me say this. Whether or not it's an incompatible office, it's on the person holding the office. This body wouldn't be doing anything wrong by appointing somebody. It would just be if somebody raises the issue of whether it's an incompatible office. The law says only 2 people can bring a court case to have a court decide. 1 is the county prosecutor and 2 is the state attorney general. So this body wouldn't be doing anything wrong by appointing somebody. It would be incumbent on that person to, I would hope, want to not hold incompatible offices.
If it pleases the board, I would say allow Mr. Boggs to participate in this. If it's his responsibility then moving forward to live up to these, if he is nominated and placed on the road commission, then that would be his responsibility, if that is okay with the rest of the board.
All right, seeing no other comments? All right, at this time, I think it's appropriate that we take a 5-minute recess if there's no objection at this time, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I would like to call the meeting of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners back to order at this time. At this time, we have before us the appointments that on our agenda. We have appointments for Bishop Airport Authority, a 1 year, one appointment for a term expiring 3 years. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We have approval of one appointment to Bishop Airport Authority for a 3-year term expiring 12/31/27. We also have 2 appointments to the Genesee District Library for partial terms expiring 8/31/27. And then we also have before us approval of one appointment to the Genesee County Road Commission for a 6-year term expiring 12/31/2030. At this time, I want to defer to Mr. Freeman to give us overview of our appointments policy that details how voting will take place relative to these appointments.
Mr. Chairman and Board, appointment policy number 01.002 prescribes the process you will be going through as you look to appoint somebody to these boards. First of all, someone will need to make a nomination to put the names into nomination for consideration. Once those names are in nomination, this board will vote in round-robin fashion with each commissioner stating the name of the person that they are supporting. At the end of the first round, we'll tally the votes. If somebody gets 5 votes, that person is the appointee for that particular board. If nobody gets 5 votes in that first round, the top 2 vote getters, which could be more than just 2 people, depending on how the votes lay out, will move on to round 2 to be considered. Only the top 2 vote getters from the first round will be considered in the second round moving forward from there. And you'll continue in that fashion until somebody receives a majority of this board, which is 5 votes, even though there's 1 absent tonight.
All right. Any questions about the process? All right. If not, I'm going to defer to our chairperson of our appointments committee for nominations for the Bishop Airport Authority appointment only. Microphone, please.
To be in compliance with our appointment policy, I nominate all applicants to the agenda.
Support.
All right, no support is needed, but thank you from our Assistant Chair of the Appointments Committee. So before us, on your agenda, all of those listed are stand nominated without objection to be considered for the appointment to the Bishop Airport Authority. At this time, we will begin voting in accordance with our policy. Mr. Clerk.
Begin voting with the 1st District. Commissioner Lloyd.
George Wilkinson.
Commissioner Winfrey.
George Wilkinson.
Commissioner Getzinger.
George Wilkinson.
Commissioner Avery.
George Wilkinson.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Sheltron.
Commissioner Kuznow.
Robert Woodgen.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Shetron.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Jetron.
Chair, no member received 5 votes. Your top 2 vote getters is Mr. Wilkinson and Mr. Sheltron.
Please proceed to the next round of votes.
We'll begin with the 2nd District. Commissioner Lloyd.
Will you advise, you just advised us, and this is a new process for us, you just advised us of the 2 whose names can be nominated. So is it, for a point of information, is it limited now to Mr. Wilkinson and Mr. Shetron?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. You're going to start with the 2nd District.
Commissioner Winfrey.
George Wilkinson.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Wilkinson.
Commissioner Avery.
George Wilkinson.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Shetron.
Commissioner Shoemaker. All right, Commissioner Kuznow.
I can vote twice if you want me to, but I don't think that's legal.
Wilkinson.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Shetron.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Jetron.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Wilkinson.
Mr. George Wilkinson has received 5 votes.
All right. Next, we'll proceed to appointments for the Genesee County District Library. Mr. Clerk, there are 2 appointments to this board. So I will defer at this time to our Chair of our Appointments Committee, Mr. Commissioner Shoemaker, for nominations for the Genesee District Library.
Being compliant with our policy, appointment policy, I nominate all applicants to the agenda.
All right, without objection, all those listed on our agenda stand nominated. Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, point of information.
Yes, sir.
Are we taking these one at a time?
Each appointment, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So we'll start voting for the first appointment. Once someone receives 5 votes, then we'll proceed to the next position. All right, Mr. Clerk, the first appointment for Genesee District Library.
First seat, we'll begin with District 1, Commissioner Lloyd.
Ann Figueroa.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Avery.
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Leah Johnson.
Commissioner Kuzenow.
Figueroa.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Figueroa.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Figueroa.
No candidate received 5 votes. The top 2 vote getters are Ann Figueroa and Russell Kirksey.
Proceed, Mr. Clerk.
On to the second round of voting. We'll begin with the 2nd District, Commissioner Winfrey.
Ann Figueroa.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Kirksey.
Commissioner Avery.
And Figueroa.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
And Figueroa.
Commissioner Kuzenow.
Figueroa.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Figueroa.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Figueroa.
And Figueroa has received an adequate number of votes. Oh, sorry. Commissioner
Ann Figueroa.
Figueroa has received a sufficient number of votes to be appointed.
All right, now we'll proceed to position 2 on the Genesee District Library. Just a point of information, I believe that all those originally nominated are eligible to be nominated in this round of votes. So the previous round, it was narrowed to the 2. Now all 15 who are nominated can be nominated in this round of voting. All right, proceed, Mr.
Actually, it's 14, right?
Deduct 1.
Given that Ann has got.
14, thank you so much. Mr. Clerk.
We'll begin with the 1st District, Commissioner Lloyd.
Lauren Gosley.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Scott Hines.
Commissioner Avery.
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Leah Johnson.
Commissioner Kuzenow.
Leah Johnson.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Gosley.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Jim Bush.
No member has received a sufficient vote. We do have 3 candidates that received 2 votes apiece. Gosley, Kirksey, and Johnson.
What is the third name you mentioned?
Johnson, Kirksey, and Gosley, Lauren Gosley.
All right. Please proceed with the next round of votes.
Begin with District Number 2, Commissioner Winfrey.
Russell Kirksey.
Getzinger.
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Avery,
Russell Kirksey.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Leah Johnson.
Commissioner Kuzenow,
Leah Johnson.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Gosley.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Johnson.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Gosley.
Kirksey has received 3 votes, Gosley 2, and Johnson 3 votes. According to your policy, we'd move forward with the remaining 2 candidates of Johnson and Kirksey. And we'll begin with the 3rd district, Commissioner Getzinger.
Kirksey.
Commissioner Avery,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Johnson.
Commissioner Kuzenow,
Johnson.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Johnson.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Johnson.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Kirksey.
no member has received sufficient number of votes. There are 2 candidates. We'll continue on voting with the 5th district. Commissioner Avery,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Johnson.
Commissioner Kuzenow,
Johnson.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Johnson.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Johnson.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Kirksey.
no candidate has received a sufficient number of votes. We'll continue voting in the same manner, beginning with District 6. Commissioner Shoemaker,
Johnson.
Commissioner Kuzenow,
Johnson.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Johnson.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Johnson.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Avery.
Kirksey.
Sorry, what was that?
Kirksey.
No candidate has received the required 5 votes. We will continue voting in the same manner. Commissioner Kuzenow,
Johnson.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Johnson.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Johnson.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Avery,
Kirksey.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Johnson.
No candidate has received a sufficient number of votes. We will continue voting in the same manner.
1 second, Mr. Clerk. I'm going to defer to Commissioner Kuzno and then Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if the bylaws, I mean, we could probably keep on this forever, but I would recommend that we wait until we have a full board, so we have an odd number. Otherwise, we're just spinning the wheels.
So that's a motion. Is there support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved by, so let me acknowledge the motion. It's been moved by Commissioner Kuzno and supported by Commissioner Avery that we postpone this to, I guess it will go back to the next, the April 16th meeting?
23rd.
April, what's the Wednesday after?
23rd.
Our next full board meeting.
23rd.
On the 23rd. So that's been moved and supported. Discussion now on the motion, Commissioner Shoemaker.
One, if we move it back to the full board, we take it off the agenda, do we start over then with the process that all names other than Ann are considered?
I guess the question would be, what's the will of the body? Because we wouldn't be concluding the vote tonight, so it would basically be bust, if you will. We would go back to the committee and then come back unless there's objection. We can decide how we want to do it with the nominations. What's the board's pleasure? What are you suggesting?
Well, I have a couple things I was going to say before we move to this point. But My pleasure would be, since Dr. Brown will hopefully be back, and that's our goal, is to break the tie with a nine-member board, so you're going to get the vote. I think she should have the opportunity, though, since she is going to be here, to start from scratch and nominate whoever she would want to begin with, because it might be favorable to a few of us, instead of just starting with the first two if you're going to start from scratch. What I would also like to remind the board is just a thought process. Before we move on this next vote next time is, please look at about geographically, how many people already from a certain municipality sit on those boards. Okay? We talked about, equity for all areas, and we talked about, and this is board's policy they move forward with, and these are some of the things I talk about. There are out-county areas that do not get the love they need, because guess what? We know somebody in this municipality, or we know somebody in that, guess what? Or they're in our own. We've talked about expanding this. My frustration with the policy that we have as far as DEI are issues like this, that we say it, but when it comes down to it, we go back to the same thing and people come from the same area. So I would ask everybody to please, before you come back to the next meeting, think about that, what we're trying to do here, and the reason we put this map out here to try to give everybody an idea of where people live. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I would think that the one that we're tabling would only apply to the second position on the library board.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
Yes.
So I guess the question will be is, what exactly will we be sending to the committee, sending to the next meeting? Is it the two who's on the table now, or will we be starting a process over? We need to determine how that's going to be handled.
Excuse me, I think it should be, to be fair to Dr. Brown, I think it should be, she shouldn't just have to walk into, because for some of us, guess what, certain people might have a reason they want to say a name first because there's someone they really believe should be on there. She should have that opportunity like the rest of us had.
Sure. Commissioner Cousineau?
We giving her an opportunity or somebody else on this? That's I guess through you to Mr. Shoemaker, are you giving yourself a second opportunity?
No, because I voted for the same person the whole entire time, and the next time next person I walk in, it'll be the same thing.
I just don't want to complicate it, that's all.
Sure.
Just pick up where we left off at.
Additional discussion? Commissioner Wayhill?
My view would be that we're only postponing this one vote, assuming that we can reach consent, or not consensus, but assuming that the road commission has someone selected with 5 votes. Ultimately, that person would be appointed tonight. So my preference would be, given that we're at an impasse, apparently, that only this one would be moved to the meeting on April the 23rd. And it would be the 14 candidates, obviously excluding Ann Figueroa, who's been appointed already, and that we would not go back to the Bishop Airport Authority Board for Dr. Brown to vote on that.
No, my motion was just for this vote that we're taking now. That was my motion.
Okay, so we have a motion thank you for the clarity on the motion. The motion is to move, really to pause where we are now and to move it to the next meeting and pick up where we left off, in essence.
That was my motion.
That's your motion. All right, so discussion on this motion, and then we'll have a vote on this motion. Any additional discussion on this motion? All right, so we passed this motion. We'll pick up at the next meeting with these two individuals on the table. That's what's on the table for us to vote on at this time. All right, seeing no additional discussion, all in favor of this motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Nay. All right, the motion passes. All right, so that brings us to our next appointment that's before us, approval of one appointment to the Genesee County Road Commission for a 6-year term expiring 12/31/30.
In compliance with our appointment policy, I nominate all applicants to the agenda.
All right, without objection, all applicants have been added into nominations. We'll prepare for the vote, Mr. Clerk.
Begin with the first district, Commissioner Lloyd,
Joe Massey.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Joe Massey.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Gregory Boggs.
Commissioner Avery,
Corin Matthews.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Jones.
Commissioner Kuzino,
Hoffman Jones.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Caruso.
Commissioner Flewelling,
Jones.
Mr. Chairman, before we proceed, can we have Mr. Freeman read our policy in regards to appointments to the Road Commission that was adopted some years ago?
So if we can, I'll honor that, Mr. Winfrey. If we can conclude this round of voting, is that okay? Or do you have that readily available? Okay, if you'll read, if there's no objection, we'll read that now.
This is from 1999, whereas the Genesee County Board of County Road Commissioners primarily maintains roads in those portions of Genesee County outside the various cities, and whereas residents of the area within which the Board of County Road Commissioners primarily maintain roads are especially concerned about and knowledgeable of the condition of and appropriate priorities regarding those roads. Now therefore be it resolved that it is the policy of the Genesee County Board of County Commissioners that future appointments to membership on the Board of County Road Commissioners should be made from among citizens who reside in areas of the county other than any of the cities. Be it further resolved that this Board of County Commissioner intends to hereafter make all appointments to the Board of County Road Commissioners from among non-city residents of the county.
Mr. Chairman, in that light, there are two members on the table right now that reside in the city of Flint.
And according to what you just read, would they be ineligible? What did you just read? Reread what you just read. I just want to be clear.
Now therefore be it resolved that it is the policy of the Genesee County Board of County Commissioners that future appointments to membership on the Board of County Road Commissioners should be made from among citizens who reside in areas of the county other than any of the cities. Be it further resolved that this Board of County Commissioners intends to hereafter make all appointments to the Board of County Road Commissioners from among non-city residents of the county.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, there are two candidates in consideration who reside in the city of Flint.
Which candidates are those?
They are Corin Matthews and Joe Genesee, according to the maps that we received.
One, it would be Matthews. I did not hear Genesee on call. Did Genesee get called? No.
He's speaking to the list of nominees.
He's talking the
Oh,
entire list.
I understand what you're saying.
So what they said, according to the policy, then,
My vote
unless
doesn't
someone
count.
says otherwise?
So mine doesn't count.
Okay, so what we need to do at that point is Corin Matthews, based on residency, would not be eligible. So Commissioner, who voted for?
I did.
Commissioner Avery? Okay, so we want to defer to you for, if you accept that, for a revote.
I do.
All right, will you start back with Commissioner Avery for this round of voting? No, just Commissioner Avery.
Commissioner Avery,
Boggs.
All right?
Mr. Matter and Mr. Russo both got one vote. There were two votes, two individuals tied with second. Mr. Massey and Mr. Boggs at 2 votes, and Ms. Kaufman-Jones at 3 votes.
All right, so we proceed to the next round, and the candidates will be Massey, Boggs, and Jones, Kaufman-Jones?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So we'll prepare to vote for the next round, Mr. Clerk.
District 2, Commissioner Winfrey.
Massey.
Getzinger.
Boggs.
Commissioner Avery.
Boggs.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Jones.
Jones.
Massey.
Jones.
Massey.
Jones received 3 votes to the third round of voting. What do you get with District 3?
So Massey and Jones.
Massey and Jones.
Okay.
Jones.
Massey.
Jones.
Jones.
Massey.
Jones.
Massey.
Massey.
Yes.
Massey.
Jones.
Jones.
Massey.
Jones.
Massey.
Massey. Jones.
Candidate has received a sufficient number of votes.
All right, next round.
All right, we'll begin with district number 6, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Jones.
Jones.
Commissioner Whale.
Massey.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Jones.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Massey.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Massey.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Jones.
Commissioner Avery.
Massey.
Candidate received a sufficient number of votes.
All right, at this time, that's 3 rounds of voting as we did previously. Is there someone who desires to make a motion?
Chair, I'll make a motion that we postpone this item
Support.
to our April 23rd meeting.
Sorry. Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported to postpone this appointment to our next meeting on April 23rd. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
All right, so we have 2 nay and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor. Motion passes. All right, thank you so much. That brings us to the next order on our agenda, which goes to our standing committees. The first standing committee before us, if there's no objection, I'd like to entertain the Community Economic Development Report at the end of the agenda. If there's no objection to that, I'll come back to Community Economic Development. At this time, no objection. All right, Finance Committee, Martin L. Cousineau, Chairperson, Gary L. Getzinger, Vice Chairperson.
You know, through all this paper shuffle, I lost my agenda.
Oh, here you go.
But all I was going to do is move a consent agenda.
Support.
All right, been moved and
We've already, considered all these things.
all right, so it's been moved and supported to move all items listed under the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Request to remove Resolution 2025-1161, please.
All right, that's so ordered without objection. Before us, we have item number 2, 3, and 4 for action. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, all opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. That brings us back to Resolution 2025-1161. What is your pleasure?
I move it forward.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion, Commissioner Shoemaker?
I think I made most of my statements last week. I do want to thank everyone for getting the information to me. I read over the quote. It was very confusing contract because in certain sections, under certain kiosks, there was maintenance, under other, there was non-maintenance on them. So I'm not sure what was being maintained. Obviously, this board's content with the what they have, but for me, that's not enough detail to tell me what kiosk I have maintenance on and what not. There's numbers on it. If you look at the last one, I think I remember on the bid, did not, it has maintenance, and then 2 up don't. So just, I'm a no for now, but the board's already moved it, so we'll just vote.
All right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay?
Nay.
All right, motion passes. Now we have before us our Governmental Operations Committee, Commissioner Del Wayhill, Chairperson, Commissioner Sean Shoemaker, Vice Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will move Resolutions 1241, 1274, 1284, 1286, 1287 as a group.
Support.
All right, so I'm clear. Item number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 were all moved, or was there one that wasn't a part of it?
No, I've moved all 5, knowing that if someone wants to take one out, or one or more out, they can do so.
Sure. Okay, it's been moved and supported to move all 5. Are there any separations? One second, are there any separations out of these 5? Commissioner Shoemaker.
A resolution, if I may, ask to remove and vote on separately, Resolution 2025-1284.
All right, so that's so ordered without objection. Prosecutor Attorney Layton.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We want to give a short presentation on 1286 and 1287. We think they're very important topics for the community, and we'd like to give a short presentation to the Board of Commissioners if we might.
Please proceed.
Thank you. So thank you for including us on your agenda this evening and helping to bring about public awareness to 2 very important topics in our community. The first is a request to formally recognize and declare the month of April as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. The prosecutor's office, as you know, receives a grant from the state of Michigan to represent the state's interests in protecting children who have been abused and or neglected. Child abuse is defined as harm or threatened harm to a child's health or welfare that occurs through non-accidental physical or mental injury, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, or maltreatment. The prosecutor's office becomes involved in a case after the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services or the police have completed an investigation, or after children are removed from their parents' home by the court. Of course, when a child is physically abused, there oftentimes are criminal charges that we pursue at the same time. So in these cases involving children, we're often going down 2 paths. One path in family court concerning parental rights, and another path is in the criminal court involving adult criminal charges for the physical harm caused to that child. Both cases are very sad and difficult for prosecutors, for police, for the investigators, and for the MDHHS caseworkers. Earlier tonight, my bureau chief, who oversees our family court operations, Matt Smith, was here. He had to leave for child duties. He oversees the work of 5 attorneys and 2 secretaries. One of our key partners in fighting against child abuse in this community is the local nonprofit organization Voices for Children. Many of you are aware of Voices for Children and the work they do. Hopefully some of you were at the 900-plus person breakfast this past week down at the riverfront. They advocate for children. They intervene in the alarming number of abuse cases that we have here in Genesee County. With me tonight is Claudnice Nisi Holloman, who's the CEO and president of Voices for Children. And if you would, I would like to give her a chance to address this body. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Nisi, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. It is a pleasure to be before you. Prosecutor Layden mentioned the fact that we had a breakfast with 917 people. And at that breakfast, someone mentioned the fact that we had over 60 new cases in Genesee County in the last 60 days that he came. But the fact remains is we're ending March we've had 127 new cases in Genesee County of child abuse and neglect. That's from physical abuse, that's sexual abuse, that's human trafficking that we've seen. And what we recognize is that there has to be an awareness. One of the things that I brought to read was a letter from one of our children, because what we recognize is not only is it about making sure that we have intervention services and we have counseling and we have therapy for these children, but justice is equally important. So Voices for Children is fortunate to be able to partner with the prosecutor's office, to partner with the victim advocates, to partner with the prosecutors that Prosecutor Layden has, in order to ensure that while we're working on healing with therapy, they're also equally getting justice. And this little boy, he's been through therapy, but he wrote this letter to his dad, and he said, if you do the right thing, I don't have to testify against you. You know what you did. I know you might miss us a lot, but what you did was shitty. Think about what happened while you're in jail. And the child recognized that he didn't have to necessarily testify, but because we had a prosecutor who was willing to negotiate a deal, a plea, so that that child did not have to testify. And he was imploring upon his father such that that child did not have to go and testify. That's what's important about making sure that we are raising awareness during Child Abuse Prevention Month, but also during Crime Victims' Right Week, because these little victims, the big victims, the adult victims, every one of them deserves the ability to have a chance, to make sure that their voice is heard, to make sure that they have the right to heal, to make sure that they have the right to get justice. And I appreciate you allowing me to be able to speak here today on behalf of the littlest voices in Genesee County who don't necessarily have a vote, but each one of you guys are the ones that are there to ensure that there is a place of healing for all of these little voices. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the second request we have tonight is to declare April 6th through the 12th as Crime Victims' Rights Week in Genesee County. We in the prosecutor's office are mandated by state law and the Michigan Constitution to provide certain services to victims under both the Crime Victims' Rights Act and the state constitution. We receive an annual grant from the state to help fund our Crime Victim Services Unit, which is comprised of a supervisor, 4 victim advocates, an administrative coordinator, and a secretary. With me tonight is Lisa Jaworski, the bureau chief, the supervisor, Bryn Bernash, and Amy Blake. These are some of my victim advocates. These are the women who shepherdized the folks through the system. Think about being a crime victim, how traumatic it must be, that the trauma has struck you, your home has been invaded, God forbid your body has been invaded, your family member has been taken from you. It's the most stressful, traumatic time in your life, and now you're getting a call or a letter in the mail from the prosecutor's office, come to downtown Flint, come to that foreboding courthouse at the corner of Court and Saginaw Street. You have to testify. You have to confront the person who has done this to you. These women and their colleagues are the ones who help those folks get through that process. They're re-traumatized coming downtown. These women help them get through it. Think about it. We're all inside the Beltway, right? We know where to park every day when we come down here. Folks from all over Genesee and really the state of Michigan, they don't even know where to park their car when they come down here. And they're facing this trauma again. So victim advocates are an extraordinarily important part of my overall operation. It's the first and maybe only time when folks come to court and have to confront all of this. And even before they get there, the advocates are on the phone with them, helping them out, telling them what to expect. In addition to advocacy, they might help provide them bus fare to get to court, lunch money during a long court session, parking, as I mentioned, even childcare and pet care as needed. So thank you for assisting us in our efforts, and we really want to bring extra public awareness to these 2 very important topics. These are things that the public doesn't realize that we do. They think all I do is prosecute criminals. There's so much more to it. and I have such a great staff, and I wanted you to see just a small part of our partnerships and our great workers who do so much to try to make things right for people who are going through the most difficult times of their life. So thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Thank you, ladies, so much for also coming up and for your presentation. Commissioner Wayhill.
Mr. Chair, I just want to let our guests know that both of these resolutions were read into the record last week at our committee meeting. Tonight, we're being a little more expeditious given the hour, but please know that that is not any indication that we don't value the work that you're doing. Appreciate the leadership of the prosecutor, the nonprofit partnership, and of course, the staff in the prosecutor's office. Thank you.
All right. So is there any discussion on, under government operations for items number 1, 2, 4, or 5? Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now we have before us item number 3, Resolution 2025-1284. What is your pleasure?
I move it.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Approval request from the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission for the Equity in All Policies Resolution. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. All right, so that brings us to, is there a report from the Government Operations Committee?
Just real quick, Mr. Chair. We had an employee of the county at public comment talking about the health insurance increases. I received a number of emails and text messages and calls about the announcement of those. So I've invited the Human Resources Director and any staff that she wants to bring who are relevant to the issue to come to the next Governmental Operations Committee meeting so that we can dig into that topic a little more.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Wayhill, and thank you to the county employee who came up and shared her sentiment during public comment on this very topic as well. Commissioner Cousineau, I did not extend the courtesy to you as well. Is there a report from the Finance Committee?
No,
Okay. All right, thank you. Next, that brings us to the Human Services Committee. Commissioner Charles Winfrey, Chairperson, Commissioner James Avery, Vice Chairperson. Mr. Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the consent agenda.
Right. All right, so item number 1, 2, 3, and 4 under the Human Services Committee has been moved and supported by Commissioner Avery. Is there any discussion or any separations? Seeing no separations, is there any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there any report from the Human Services Committee?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, that brings us to the Public Works Committee. Commissioner Brian Fluelli, Chairperson, Commissioner James Avery, Vice Chairperson.
Mr. Chair, I would move 1 through 3 as consent agenda.
Support.
All right, consent agenda has been moved and supported by Commissioner Avery. Are there any separations? Seeing no separations, is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion passes. All right, that brings us back to Community Economic Development.
So, Mr. Chair, in Dr. Brown's absence, I'm going to move Resolution 2025-1297.
All right, it's been moved and supported. I'd like to ask the gentleman from Priority Waste to come back for a couple follow-up questions right before we take action on this item. How long is your contract? Will you state your name again for the record?
Matt Allen, Director of Public Relations and Government Affairs for Priority Waste. ALLEN.
Okay, thank you. How long is your contract? What's the duration of your contract with the City of Flint for your Priority Waste contract?
5 years, sir.
5 years? And is that both for trash waste, hazardous waste, or trash waste and recyclables?
Trash recycling, that's correct, sir.
Trash and recycling. And so what happens in 5 years with this, with the business that you're expanding out there on Door Highway, if for some reason the City of Flint decides not to continue in the future a successor agreement with you after the 5 years? Does that business continue on? What does that look like?
Right, so it's speculative at this point, right? So based on whatever the Solid Waste Planning Committee would decide for the County of Genesee, that facility will continue on for decades to come. It'll have the capacity to do so. So recycling won't stop even if the provider changes in the city of Flint. So just for point of clarification, the transfer station is already licensed. It's been in existence for 50 years. This permit that we're seeking, the support letter, is just for the materials recovery facility or the recycling facility, which is what is a requirement from Eagle for operation. So that's the question. It's not the permission for the facility in total, it's just for the MRF.
Okay, and then I just want to be clear because I've seen a couple articles on this which prompted me to ask more questions about, partnership with the city, and I know I asked you about this in terms of what you're asking for the county. I know it's the letter, but what is the city's contributions to this project beyond the letter of support?
None, no financial contribution whatsoever. The shoulder is being completely shouldered by Priority Waste.
Okay, and so beyond the letter, the land is also owned by Priority Waste?
That's correct, both parcels.
Both parcels is owned by Priority Waste. And then one additional question. Has there been any discussion, this is my final question, has there been any discussions about some savings for the residents on the trash side of this, the waste side of this, as a result of, what you're getting ready to do with recycling out there? Has there been any discussion about some type of?
That's an interesting proposition, Mr. Chairman. I like what you're thinking. That would be something that would be done in a renewal period 5 years down the road. The initial $40 million outlay for this facility, that cost will not be offset for many, many years to come. And anything that would be gleaned from the commodities that would be processed through the MRF would be minuscule compared to the total amount of expenditure for the building of the facility. Just the sorting technology alone that's inside is a little over $12 million. We'll have to be in operation probably 10 or 15 years just to cover the cost of that machinery alone. So recycling is a great activity, but it's not been made to be a very profitable enterprise yet anywhere in the United States.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. I'm ready to vote on this, but I just want to make a statement to be clear because I've received some calls from my constituents on this project, again, a project that's going to be taking place inside the 1st District of Genesee County. If I'm hearing you correct, this is not a City of Flint project. Is that correct?
It's a Priority Waste project.
All right. Secondly, there are no resources that are being contributed to this project, not only from the city of Flint, but also from Genesee County. Nobody's contributing resources to this project, not the city of Flint or Genesee County. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Additionally, this is not a project that's been started by either of the entities either, but a project that you all are venturing down, endeavoring to do.
That's correct.
Okay, so I just want to be clear because I've had a number of my constituents ask me if the county's partnering with the city of Flint to do this particular project. I had no knowledge of such discussions, which is why I wanted to slow this down to get clarity on it.
Understandable.
So it's a true statement that the Priority Waste Materials Recovery Facility and Processing and Transfer Facility is not a City of Flint project, it's not a Genesee County project, it's a project that you are starting, but you require, based on the plan, to have a letter of support from the City of Flint and Genesee County, 2 letters, in order for you to get the permitting, if you will, from the state of Michigan. Is that correct?
Eagle. That's correct, sir.
Okay, so I just wanted to be clear. So I'm going to be supporting this project tonight because I support the expansion of economic development in the 1st District or in Genesee County at large. I'm also going to support this project because of the creation of 100 permanent jobs on that site and also the creation of 150 temporary jobs in construction for the build-out of this project. A support letter from Genesee County, just as a support letter will be coming from the city of Flint in support of the work that your company will be doing, not the county, not the city of Flint, to build this project.
Thank you, sir. That's terrific.
Thank you. All right, any additional discussion on this item? All right, seeing no additional discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there any unfinished business before us tonight? All right, any final comments from any commissioners? 2nd District, any comments?
No.
3rd District? All right, no, 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 and no. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.